You know who my next guest is. There's no one on the UFC roster like Tanner Boser, and glad he is back here on the program because he's coming off a huge win over Philipe Lins at UFC Fight Night on June 27th. Tanner, how's it going, man? I imagine pretty damn good.
It's going pretty good, dude. You're right. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. It's good to catch up with you. Congratulations, like I said, on the victory there. How did you feel going into the fight? Because I know one of the things we talked about was the fact that you didn't get to work with training partners. Was the mentality different, or did you just treat it like any other fight?
No, I felt good going into the fight because I was in such good shape. And yeah, like any other fight, when I'm going in there, I'm confident and I'm cold. I'm not, thinking about too much in terms of second guessing what I did. I knew I was ready for the fight.
Absolutely. And where does this win rank in terms of your career wins? Because you've had some good ones, but this one was really quick, and it's obviously in the UFC, which is getting a lot more eyeballs.
Yeah, this is probably my favorite one in terms of the actual performance. I'd say in terms of personal significance, the Tim Hague rematch beats it to me, but this is for sure my best performance.
What was it like on social media after the fight? I'm sure people were, hitting your DMs or at least, acknowledging the knockout. I'm sure you saw the knockout go on, Instagram and Twitter and things like that. And what was that like? Because I know that's something you probably haven't experienced.
Yeah, no, there was a lot. If anybody watching this, if I didn't get back to you, I'm sorry. I had probably 1,000 DMs in my inbox. It was cool. That stuff's all cool, but.
I know you're not about the clout. It's all about, the performance and fighting and all that stuff. I know kind of how you are and everything. How did you celebrate that night? Because obviously a lot of the stuff's closed. So did you just go back to the room and crack open some drinks, eat some good food?
Yeah, I went back to the room. Chuck ordered Chinese food, and Teddy ran to the gas station and got a bunch of what are they, the 40s, like the beers, the big beers.
Yeah.
Brought back a bunch of those, and that was what we did. And then we passed out. Well, a bit, and then had to go to the airport at 5 a.m, and now I'm back home in quarantine.
Yes, no, I imagine. Did your body kind of feel like crap after the fact because you were eating pretty healthy and good conditioning heading into the fight?
No, I didn't even, I only had a couple of those big beers. I mean, I don't know actual beers that equates to, but no, I felt fine. I've eaten some pizza and stuff, but I haven't really abused my body yet, so it's still there.
Yeah. We still got time for that. Have you or your manager spoken to the UFC since the fight? Because they must have been pretty happy to see a knockout like that, especially on a pretty stacked card.
Yeah, I don't think he's spoken to the UFC yet. I have no news in terms of anything on that front.
Okay, no worries. No, I just wondered if they, mentioned anything about the performance. Maybe Dana White saying, "Hey, great job," anything like that. So that's. But either way, I'm sure that's going to come. Is it just me, or did you do a lot more media for this fight? During fight week, and then even post fight, I saw you do the interview with Anik, then the interview with Brett Okamoto, and then the press conference. Did you feel like it was more than before?
Oh yeah, we did have to do several interviews after the fight at the Apex Center. Yeah, there was more.
Yeah,
I'm not sure why, but I don't mind. It would suck if you came off a 3-round really hard fight and you were just trying to breathe. That would suck. But obviously I was fine, and adrenaline was still pumping, and I was in a good mood, so I didn't mind doing all of them.
Well, it was hilarious because obviously, we've done interviews. I know how you are. You're pretty brutally honest when it comes to that stuff. I know they asked you about dropping down to light heavyweight. Is that, that's sort of been throughout your entire career. It's sort of been a question. Is that why you kind of were why would you ask that? But also, like you said, you came off a win. Why would people ask that?
Yeah, ask him to go to 205. He just lost, and we weighed the same thing.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. No matter what, they'll tell you to drop a weight class. Either I'm out of shape, or I'm too fat, or something like that, or I need to lose weight, and then I do, and then I have to drop a weight class. No matter what, there's some dumbass criticizing you. So if I can tell you what, if I dropped to 205, I would be super skinny. I would retain none of my advantages. And then if I was there, because I wouldn't be big at 205 either, then they would tell me to go to 185. That's what happened when I went to 205 when I was 22 for one fight, I guarantee. I had people asking me in seriousness when I fought at 205 when I was 22 years old or whatever, that I should go to 170 because I was so small at 205. I'm 235. You see how lean I am?
Yeah.
In order to cut to 205, I would have to lose, not cut. I would have to lose 10, 15 pounds of muscle. There's not really that much fat to go. So I would have to lose 15 pounds of muscle. and then kill myself with a water weight cut. I like my life. I don't need that. And also it would give me zero advantage, but people are too stupid to see that. People love to jump on whenever a fighter dies in Asia for a weight cut, because it always seems to be there. Everybody piles on about the evilness of weight cuts, and it's such a bad I don't know, tradition that fighters cut so much weight before fights, and that the promotions have to stop fighters from cutting weight so much because it's doing damage to their health, to your kidneys and everything else. And then a guy doesn't want to kill themselves to cut weight for no advantage, in my opinion. And everybody's like, man, that guy's too small. He really needs to cut 30 pounds. The same people talk out of both sides of their mouth, and they're dumb as hell. So that's just what it is. Like, I'm going to fight at heavyweight, and it doesn't matter if people like it or not, because I'm going to keep winning enough fights to stay there.
What were some of the other bad questions you got this week? You don't have to say who it was, but did you get any? What were some questions that you were maybe surprised by? Like, why would you ask that?
One guy asked why I was in better shape this fight, because I'm a professional. I should be in my best shape every fight. You know, you don't get to teleport to the best shape of your life, right? Like, it's a process. Go fight by fight. And although now, yes, I'm at the best shape of my life, it took years and a pandemic to make me crack down on certain things. And it wasn't that I wasn't training hard before. I was training probably longer and harder at certain things. It's just without as much strength and conditioning. Also, my job burned down, so I'd no longer have to, eat at 4 a.m., stuff like that. Like, it was kind of a series of unfortunate events that led to me getting in 235 shape. But yeah, that was a question where I actually looked at him like he was stupid for like 10 seconds before answering it.
Well, I gotta know though, on the other side of the mic, because like this is something, like, I've interviewed you for years, so I know how you are. But like when you're saying this stuff and you're just being completely honest, is it kind of funny on your end to see kind of the look on their face? Because a lot of times fighters are pretty reserved, got the wall up, but you're just like, I don't give a shit. This is what I think. Was that kind of funny for you?
Yeah, I mean, I like putting a lot of those guys in their place. I'm not gonna lie, because the way I look at a majority of the people who interview, they're a bunch of fucking nerds who have no idea about what you actually do or what it means to be a fighter or what it's like to be a fighter. So a lot of their questions, I just want to slap the shit out of them. So I obviously can't do that, so I do it verbally.
Awesome. How was the overall experience? Like, just getting to fight during the pandemic, doing the testing and all that. How was that? Just going through that, because that's new for you, obviously.
Yeah, that was fine. We got there at night on Monday, and on Tuesday morning we had our first COVID test. We had to quarantine in our hotel after that, and then by Wednesday morning the results were back and we were allowed to venture out and do stuff. And then we had to do the final COVID test after weigh-ins, and then we were locked down until after the fight. We had to stay at the hotel until fight time, then they drove you to the fight, and then you went back. Their precautions were smart, I think. It was good of them. They're doing whatever they can to appear like they're, doing everything within their power to make sure nobody else could possibly spread COVID via the fight. So that's all right. That was fine. And the UFC Performance Institute being right there and them driving you to it, it was a great place to train during the week. And they're cooking you food. So I got healthy meals all week. That was good. It was definitely, all in all, a really well-run event. Obviously,
post-fight, we saw you there. You wanted to fight Mo Greene. He looks like he wants to fight you. I'm assuming no update on that, but that seems like a logical fight for both of you.
Seems logical, but yeah, you're right. No update on it. Haven't heard anything. He said he wants to fight. If he does, I don't know how long he's going to be out for his cut. I think he got like a 45-day suspension or something. So that pretty much nixes Fight Island, but the Fight Island cards are pretty full anyway. I don't think my chances of getting on one is high. So I'll play it by ear. If UFC wants to put that fight together, that's great. But if not,
No, fair enough. Yeah, we'll sort of have to see how the timing works out. But I imagine, though, you do want to get in there pretty soon just because you had a quick win.
Yeah, I do. Pretty much as soon as I can. I mean, I can't for 2 weeks because of the quarantine, but I would take 1 week off anyway. After this one, I would get in next week. I won't be able to do that, but that's fine. I'll be back to training camp in a couple weeks.
So what are you doing during quarantine right now? How do you keep yourself occupied?
Dude, nothing. I'm not doing anything. It sucks.
Have you, you know what, this is a good opportunity. Do you watch a lot of TV? I was trying to remember this. I don't think you do, right?
No, I don't. I watch some TV shows, but I'm really bad at, like, I just don't get into most stuff. What are you going to suggest, though?
Well, because you haven't seen it, and I feel like this is a show you would really like if you just gave the time and dedicated it, and I think now is the time, Tanner. Trailer Park Boys. Trailer Park Boys.
Is it on Netflix? Because I don't know how to...
Yeah, it is on Netflix, yeah.
Then okay, I'll give it a go for you.
Okay, so next time we do an interview, I want to know what you think, because I really feel like this is a show that you would find funny.
Do I start at season 1?
Start at season 1, and it kind of picks up a bit like season 2, season 3, but there's a lot of Canadianisms in it that I think you will pick up on and you'll find pretty funny. So let me know if it sucks. I want you to be on. Obviously, you will be honest with me, but I want to hear your honest opinion about it, because I do think that's a show that you would really like. So.
Okay.
We'll just leave it on that. Before I let you go, we had a big heavyweight fight before you. We had the Curtis Blaydes and Volkov fight. What did you think of that matchup? Because I know, eventually you're going to be starting to fight these guys with the, wins you're putting together.
I thought that was an awesome fight. I don't know why criticism. There was a lot of intricacies in Curtis Blaydes' wrestling that a lot of people who don't wrestle aren't going to pick up on. The way he controlled ankles and was so relentless with it. It was so impressive. But yes, it wasn't some crazy highlight reel finish, so everybody shit on the guy. I thought it was a very good performance, and I also got to give mad props to Volkov for getting up so much. Getting up is extremely tiring, and Volkov got up a record amount of times because he got taken down a record amount of times, and he got up every single one of those, really. So that was really impressive. Volkov got a takedown on Blaydes late in the fight, which is crazy. His first takedown of his UFC career, and he takes down Curtis Blaydes. I thought it was a great fight, but yeah, I didn't know if it would go to decision. I thought Curtis might finish him eventually, but I'm not overly surprised that it did because Volkov's tough and savvy, and he's not going out easily or at all. Does anybody ever finish Volkov?
Derek Lewis at the very last minute. Remember, there's like a minute left, and he knocked him out. Volkov was going to win a decision if otherwise, so it was a big win for Lewis.
I remember that fight. I lost $400 on that. I was super confident. I was like, if Volkov doesn't make an absolutely stupid mistake, he's going to run away with the decision here all day.
Right, which he nearly did. Yeah, so you had the right mindset.
I lost more. I bet $400, but he was an underdog. And and then he threw a knee with his hands down with 10 seconds left in the fight. Yeah, I was mad for days. Of course, there was that. But no, that was a good fight. That was a good fight, and he got that head kick off on Curtis that wobbled him in round, I think, 4. I liked it. I thought both guys looked pretty good, really.
Well, and I was going to say, too, just back to the Blaydes fight, like, I agree with you. I thought it was a good fight. I thought it was a good technique. And it's not like Curtis wasn't trying to finish him. He was. It's just, Volkov's a tough guy. It was a very tough guy. And my favorite comment, I got to mention this because you'll like this, too. So I interviewed Curtis after the fight, and there's all these people like, such a boring fight, he's such a boring fighter. I was like, do you realize how many fighters he's finished in the UFC? Like, do you guys, like, it's so, like, recency bias is such a funny thing in MMA, don't you think?
Yeah, it is. I'm the opposite. Everybody thinks I'm sick right now, but when I go back to winning decision on my next fight, everybody say, what happened to Boser? He's so boring now. So, I mean, I don't know.
It is what it is.
I already know. Yeah, that's how it is.
Okay, last question, and then we'll wrap things up here. What is the best post-fight meal you've had since the fight? Because I know you were eating pretty good, and I know you're a heavyweight, get a little bit more away with it. But any good meals since the fight?
Last night I got Skip the Dishes from Donna's Eatery in Edmonton, and I got a big old corned beef sandwich and a pizza, and it was pretty good. So
awesome, good stuff.
I guess that's my best one so far.
There you go. Well, Tanner, always appreciate the time, man. Congratulations again on the win. Anything you want to plug? Any social media? Any sponsors? Any thank yous? The floor is yours, man.
Sure. Social media is at Bulldozer Boser on Instagram and Twitter. Tanner Bulldozer Boser on Facebook. Sponsors, I got PPS, that's Paul Pedal Services. I got Premier Built Garages, and I got Mealcraft, of course, which helped me to get in the shape you saw. So that's my sponsors. My gyms are Shave Bears MMA at Little Sweatshop in Sherwood Park. They're reopened now for small groups because of COVID, so you have to sign up online, message their page on Instagram or Facebook if you want to sign up. And Frank Lee's Muay Thai is where I do my kickboxing. So thanks to my coaches, Jeff Montemuro, Kedro Noda, and I got a lot of training partners, and I'm not going to rattle them all off now because I'm going to miss at least one.